assembled an impressive panel to discuss the market crisis, what happens next, and most important, what can you do to shelter yourself against this financial turbulence? Ready Marketing Systems. What are your clients doing?
Well, we're sort of in the same line. If you're dealing with clients that in the used market, if you have to sell, it's the worst time to sell. But if there's pressures that you've lost elsewhere in the market, your portfolio is upset, you're going to sell. But if you don't have to sell, we all got into real estate for long term. Just take it off the market. And what we're finding on the development side with pre-sale, where we do most of our business, is the developer retreats from the market a lot quicker than the consumer, so that supply side quickly corrects. And we're back to fundamentals. People want to know inventory coming. They want. Everybody's not buying blindly now. They're asking the tough questions. It's the way it should be. The Michaels, am I overly optimistic thinking that in my city, use Vancouver, not the suburbs, where it's not just fueled by local incomes and there's low inventory, that this money's all going to the sidelines, that as we get to February and America has some political direction and we start to see some clearing, I'm not going to say positives, but you start to see some direction, that what's that money going to do? Is it all going to just sit on the sidelines, or will it come back to me into bricks and mortar?
You know, you're in real estate. You market condos downtown. That's your prime market. Are your clients concerned, nervous? Are they trying to sell? Can they sell?
I've got two clients. I've got the developer on the supply side, and then I've got the consumer, the purchaser. And the developer, downtown, that's why I asked the question to the Michaels, is I have no inventory coming, and I've got rents really moving up. So maybe we can be a little bit more stable, but the markets that are fueled just by local incomes, downtown is second-time buyers, rich guys, and foreign money. We're a resort city. But as I get into the suburbs and I start to look at local incomes, I think that there's huge pressure on local incomes, and maybe the market moved. That last 5% shouldn't have taken place. So that pressure was already there. Now this sort of confidence side, I think right now, with the storm going on, it is hard for a buyer to buy something and go to dinner and tell their friends they bought something, because everybody will have a negative opinion. So I've got the confidence level, and I think we're going to see that where people thought that they'd sell something for $800,000, they're now happy if they get $725,000. But I think it's just so hard to tell right now. When we saw it change in June, they said, get me through to September, and now I'm saying get me through to February. It's really hard to see how many people are going to have pressure on them, how many developers might be in trouble. Downtown, I don't see it, but I think in the suburbs, we might have some developers that are overextended. And the banks are watching every move they make because they're really clamping down on financing. And the consumer might have some false buys there, but I just don't see the supply coming, and that will help keep the market relatively stable. But I still use it. Maybe that last 5% shouldn't have taken place, then compounded by what's happening today.
So if you bought last month?
If you bought last month, you're okay, because we already saw some slowdown. I'm trying to pick a date to tell you that if you bought, then maybe you're in trouble. I look at these buildings, all these pre-sales behind you as we look out the window, and they've all bought from 30 months ago to 12 months ago. And I think they're okay, because the 12 months ago aren't completing for another 24 months. But we don't have anybody that's bought that you go, oh my God, I can't get you out tomorrow. We just completed a building that went for move-in on Cambie and Robson, and all but one buyer was able to close. But in L'Hermitage at Richards and Robson, I had an American buyer 6 months ago that they couldn't complete on
because they couldn't get financing.
Because of the problems that they had in America, they couldn't go finance their home like they thought they would, because it's eroded, to come and buy here. So that puts pressures. But just to answer it clearly, we're not where we used to be. I can satisfy the fundamentals of downtown, but I can't change the confidence. And that's why some people will find some buys, and other people, I think, should just sit back, take their properties off the market, and wait till they can see a clearing.
We have to break for the news at the top of the hour. I was asking both Michael and Diane before the break how their clients are reacting to this crisis in the market, because but the two Michaels kind of analyze things from a perspective. But Bob and Diane have clients who I presume are on the phone to you on an hourly basis, calling saying, should I buy this condo? Should I put it on hold? Can I sell my condo? Can I sell a condo downtown today?
Well, during the break, one of your announcers asked me to go outside the room, and you go outside the room, and they bought a condo downtown that they were going to sell, and he says, you know what, I think we'll just rent it. So those are, the pressure isn't there to sell. Those are the things that rapidly clean up my market because I've got rising rental rates to support it. But
wait a minute. If market prices are coming down, you're telling me rents are going up? I would think if the market price is going down, that the rent would go down.
You should have another panel on and ask, because I don't have the exact stats, it would be CMHC, how many rental towers have been built in our city in the last 10 years?
None.
The only rental supply is from these passive condo investors that we all hate so much. But without them, rents would probably be $4. But with less supply coming in downtown because of our direction to preserving sites for office towers, there's huge pressure on rental rates, combined with some pressure being brought on by the Olympics of a different demographic in town. But across the board, there was an article in the paper that said real estate should drop 10% based on current rents. But the rents were historical from last year. Today, at Richards and Robson, I know the rates exactly, it's $2.74 per month per square foot. That was $2.20 less than 18 months ago.
Here, if I might.
So those things keep a market stable.
Bill, can I? Let's take this out.
And Michael, that's what I was saying earlier, and you're right, is we have to split it out into two markets. The market that's fueled by the resort of downtown Vancouver and then local incomes. And I think the markets that are supported by local incomes are going to be the hardest hit.
And for some time.
And that your neighbor's house, that should it be on the market today when there really isn't an audience?
There isn't an audience. I told this story. I've got one guy who's got 14 houses for sale, and
the problem with the realtor with 14 houses for sale is he can't afford to advertise them today. So he just goes back to the homeowner and says, reduce, 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 rather than building that relationship and saying, why don't we take it off the market till February and wait till there's some clearing? Because we cause our own spiral. So I think it's really looking at those sort of fundamentals, because not all those 14 people have to sell.
Let me get some calls. Sam,
Michael, and maybe we shouldn't use that Wall Street, Main Street, and I tend to agree with you, but I continue to separate our markets out into downtown Vancouver, no supply, different eyes, and those really guided by local incomes are pushed out of Vancouver, out of downtown Vancouver, so I can't include, and then the local income market. You think that I should be a little more, blend them together more?
No, you're absolutely
saying something I thought was really profound is that actually when markets, you'll say it much better, but when markets look the most riskiest, is actually a lot of the risk has been taken out of it. You probably say it way better. I think being what we do, it always looks like we have a self-serving interest. And my industry, we make our money on the way up or the way down. We just have to try and interpret the market. But when you look at that from $399 to $349, the investor only buys pre-sales, so you've lost that demographic. And I'd say out of those 2 units for sale, one of them will rent out, and somebody will get a good buy on the other one, even if it goes for $325. But with no inventory coming over the next 24 months, I can see where that will stabilize and find its place. But you look for these anomalies in the market, and I still go back to, is that realtor spending money marketing it or just constantly reducing prices?
Mike.